Welcome to After the Poll, the video series where I share all my thoughts and opinions on the rest of the current comic books that I read for this current comic book week. I'm Mike Spider-Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content and you've been watching my channel for a while and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, guys, go ahead and do so now. This is the companion series to Worthy Ones. So if you guys have not checked out the Worthy Ones series, yeah, that's a series where I talk about all the newest issue 1 comic books for the week and determine if they're worthy or not worthy. So with that being said, we got quite a few comic books to talk about this week, so let's get started. Welcome to the realm of Marvel Comics. We got a few Marvel comic books to discuss. Last week I felt some of the Marvel comics were actually quite good. Does it deliver 2 weeks in a row? We shall see. We are kicking it off with X Factor. This is issue 10, the conclusion to this series. It's unfortunate because this was my favorite series out of all the X titles that were currently coming out. I thought they had a great rotating cast of characters and roster. I thought it was kind of comical how obviously they were working for the government, but the government obviously had their own intentions. And this series just basically wraps up everything that's going on in here. Trying to escape this poisonous gas on their plane, trying to rescue Polaris. There's some decent character moments in here with Angel and Havoc and Polaris as well, and some of the other characters, right? But this wasn't anything that where it was like actually spectacular or a great ending. It was just like, oh yeah, maybe this was a story arc and we'll see where it goes, and no one bought it, and that's kind of how it ends, right? So yeah, at the end of the day, I thought it was a very average ending, nothing spectacular or amazing here. So I wound up giving this one kind of like a C, just kind of bummed out that the series is ending and maybe they couldn't tell the story that they completely wanted to tell. All right, the next one is Wolverine issue 9. This is the beginning of a new story arc. So if you want to jump on Wolverine now, this is the perfect time to do it. However, I didn't find this book that interesting because we come off of a story arc where we deal with this crazy gold adamantium or whatever the heck it's called, right? And we dealt with this Wendigo kid, and now we start off almost just like every other Wolverine book. Like, how many times have we seen Wolverine sitting at the bar, you know, people making fun of him and things like that, and then he winds up getting attacked by soldiers, which happened at the beginning of the last story arc. We get introduced to a character that's in here that's in charge of these soldiers, saying, hey, you know what, I'm gonna keep an eye on you. Okay, that's great, that's grand, that's fantastic. I guess the catch of this comic, though, is that Wolverine gets this letter from his dead mother, and so it tells him to go back to his home, his childhood home, right? So as time goes along, he does go back to his house, to his manor or whatnot, and he comes across Harpoon and Vertigo, and so they wind up fighting. Why? Like, there was no real purpose for them fighting, just to put some action in this comic book. And then once he beats them, then it comes to the all predictable foe, right? Who does he come across in this manner? Well, of course, it's got to be Sabretooth. And I'm like, man, come on. Like, can't we just go a little while without Sabretooth being in a Wolverine comic book? There's got to be something else, you know? So, even though I've stuck with Wolverine through the thick and thin here, this book has very much been an on and off type of thing where I'm like, oh, it's good, oh, it's not so good. And I'm going to continue it, but it's one of those things where it's like, man, I really wish we did not see Sabretooth in here, because then it could have been more of an original plot line, right? So, same thing, I gave this one a C. The setup wasn't that great. Leading up to the house wasn't that great. This is kind of pointless in my eyes. All right, then we talk about the Uncanny X-Men. This is issue 14, the third mutant book I picked up this week. A lot of you guys know how I feel about the Uncanny X-Men. I continue to give it the benefit of the doubt to see how the story is going to progress with all these different cast of characters. We get the Outlier kids, we get Gambit, we get Rogue. We wind up getting introduced to this new female mutant from back in the day, from Louisiana, I think she's from. And you learn about her backstory. And then you learn about these kids who go deep underground right? Which I guess they're connected to this mutant. And then you're still dealing with the story that happened when we got introduced to, I think back at 13 issues ago, with this whole dragon thing in Gambit, about him having the Eye of Agamotto, and if he doesn't give it back, he's going to face some curse. And so him and the dragon fly back home. They end on good terms, and then here comes Rogue fighting the dragon. I don't know. It just didn't all make sense to me. There's like too many real plot points going on in this book to the point where it's like, man, do I care? Like, eliminate something. Like, there's so many things that are going in this book that it's like, okay, give the Outliers their own book at this point. We've explored them for 13 issues. Do you think they have legs enough at this point to give them their own storyline so we can focus on X-Men? I don't know, man. We'll see. This one was all right, but again, there's just too many plot points going on. I gave Uncanny X-Men a C-. Good artwork, though. The next book that I like is Star Wars Jedi Knights. This is issue 3. However, I felt like it was too soon to have a filler issue, because that's exactly what this was. This was like a picture book where we got to see our Jedi Knights go to a planet, and they have to rescue Princess Leia's like father, right? I don't know, what's his name, Organa, right? And so they come across these creatures that like eat their ships, and they're so large, like dinosaur mass, you can't even make out what's going on. But this is literally the book. Every single page, it's like, here we go, here's another pinup, and it just continues on. And there is no dialogue in this book. They wind up rescuing Organa in the book, and that's kind of where we leave off. They escape, and that's it. There was no story progression, no plot progression. It's like, isn't this a little soon for this to be going in this direction? I don't know. Maybe they wanted an action piece. I just think it was too soon for it. Same thing, gave that one a C-. But I will continue reading it because the first 2 issues were really solid. Then we get our One World Under Doom. This was a story focused around Dormammu and Doom. This was another book where I really felt like it didn't progress any story. It was like, okay, the Avengers failed. The Fantastic Four failed. We had Alpha Flight fail. We had the X-Men fail. And Dormammu put them all in this pocket dimension. And it's up to Doctor Doom to stop Dormammu here because he feels threatened by him. Okay? Where did you see all these other characters get dominated by Dormammu at any point? Or by Doctor Doom? Either character. None of them. You never saw that. Everything took place like off panel. What could have made this a great event, you just didn't see it, right? You saw it in a couple issues previously, and they felt like, okay, well now we gotta have this big fight. The fight was kind of cool. It's bright, vibrant colors. You get to see these characters square off against each other. But I felt like the fight was there just to have a fight. There was no real setup here, okay? And that's what was disappointing about it. Fight again was fine, but if you don't have a setup, then really what's the point? And then they try to capture you by an Avengers moment here. And by what I mean Avengers moment is by Avengers Endgame moment, where we get all the characters coming through a portal, and then we say, Avengers, assemble, right? And that's what you get here. Beat up Doctor Doom, and then all the other Avengers coming through to stop Dormammu. I don't know, man. This same thing, like, cool fight, but it just, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't make sense in the overall grand event. You would think that with One World Under Doom continuing after this, where do we go from here? You would think that this might have been the finale, right? So I'm really lost with this right now. I gave that one a D+. This book is starting to drop down a little bit for me. However, when it comes to the Red Hulk, it continues to deliver. I mean, it's absolutely awesome. It's so much fun. I love this book. Best tie-in book, even though it's so loosely tied into everything. Because, you know, obviously Doctor Doom has his own agenda, has his own thing to do, and these guys are being chased by Doombots. It's a Prison Break comic book where you got Deathlock and Thunderbolt Ross and Machine Man. And Machine Man is pretty much inoperable at this point, but they're trying to get to this nuclear power plant to power Thunderbolt Ross again so he can become the Red Hulk. Was he successful at the end of the day? Well, you'll definitely have to read that to find out. But this book was awesome. And so I continue to give Red Hulk great grades here. I want to give this one a B+. Welcome to the realm of DC Comics. We have like 4 DC Comics to talk about this week. There's a little more. First one we're talking about is Batman and Robin. This is issue 21. As this continues the storyline of the Memento character, as Damian has been captured and Batman's been trying to find out what's been going on, how to find him, and all those different things like that. When it comes to this issue, we get to see a little bit of the history of the whole, I guess, situation that's been going on in years prior. We get to see this reenactment that's been happening at this opera house, and Batman is trying to stop that from happening. There's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of talking heads in the beginning, and then you get some action at the end of the comic book. But this particular issue wasn't my favorite one, and this is, again, kind of my thoughts when it comes to Batman and Robin right now as a whole. It's like there's an issue that's decent, there's an issue that's not so decent, and this is kind of how I felt when it came to the Philip Kennedy Johnson run on Hulk, right? There's a good issue, there's not such a good issue, and then his story arcs just tend to go on forever. So it's like, if you don't really like the particular story that's going on, why are you going to read Batman or Robin? Or why are you going to read, Hulk, right? So when it comes to this story, I've been really hot and cold about it. I didn't really like this one, so I'm giving this one a D. That could be an unpopular opinion here, but I feel like this story has been going on a little bit too long, and I want to see something else from this series. Aquaman issue 5. Now, Aquaman's been pretty solid. I don't read much Aquaman, but this is some of the best Aquaman I have personally read. Now, when it comes to this book, we've seen Aquaman go to this different realm. Mira's been missing. The Atlanteans have been missing. He's got this trident that was created for him. He escaped this character by the name of Dagon, and now we wind up seeing him in this city, and he's just trying to find answers, and again, trying to find Mira. In the beginning, we get to see some of this foreshadowing of what's going to possibly happen with Aquaman. Really good artwork, bright and vibrant colors in here. And it's kind of cool because he's going throughout the city. He comes across this guy by the name of Nemo, who brought his ship into the city. They impounded it, and he knows where actually Mira is kept at. So it's Aquaman's job now to get this ship so they can escape the city and go find Mira. There's a lot of action along the way. I like this story. I like this setup. And it was good pacing too. And I feel like this book is really solid right now. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give Aquaman a B+. I can't wait to see what happens with Mira, and if he comes in, he rescues her and the other Atlanteans as well. Green Lantern Corps, this is issue 4. This is a fun book because I like seeing the Corps back together again and interacting with each other and seeing all those different Corps members. It's just a lot of fun. I think the artwork is great. I love, obviously, all the green in the comic book. I love seeing Simon Baz and Kelly and Kilowog, Guy Gardner. You get this new little furry guy who they don't know anything about, and they're like, why is he even in the Corps? He doesn't have anything special. There's some just really good moments in this comic book. We wind up seeing Kelly in this book. She needs some kind of thing to recharge her battery, and they go to this shop owner that is doing some shady things on the side, and Simon sits there and goes, if you just give us this piece, we won't report your illegal, operations here. And he's like, oh, okay, so that's fine. So he goes in there, he winds up getting this, the device for them, and he plays a trick on them, right? So you're just like, oh, that sucks, right? And then you wind up getting to see more of the story that's going on between these two guys, and the interaction between them is great. They come across a tough adversary in this book, and just there's a lot of action and good storytelling, and it leaves off with a great cliffhanger. So I really enjoyed this book as well. It does things a lot better than Uncanny X-Men, right? Uncanny X-Men has all these different characters, but they go into completely different plot points. This one is a whole bunch of different characters, and they're a core, but I don't know, the story just flows better for me, and these characters are just more interesting to me. So I wound up giving this one a B+ as well. Solid book, looking forward to more. All right, and then we got Absolute Batman. This is issue 8. This continues the storyline with Dr. Freeze or Mr. Freeze, whatever you want to call him. And in this book, we kind of get to see Bruce Wayne being tortured in Mr. Freeze's torture device. And it was kind of cool to see him experience that. So as the reader, you're like, oh my God, he must be freezing. He's describing the pain, how it burns, and how people Mr. Freeze is like how people take off their shirts because their brain is all messed up. And then you get to see Bruce Wayne escape this pod, and you see this epic battle between Mr. Freeze and Bruce Wayne, and it's just absolutely epic. Now, the artwork is not the normal artwork in here, but I felt like for this story, it kind of fits, and I did enjoy it. Batman is in trouble in here. We get the side story of what's going on with Matches Malone as well, and the cool thing is, the next issue, we're going to be introduced to Bane. And that, I think, is going to be absolutely awesome and what everybody has been waiting for. I gave this one an A-. Really solid read. If we had the normal artist on here, I think this one would have gotten a top grade. Welcome to the world of the independent comic books. That's right, guys. We're going to talk about those indies. I've been gone for a couple hours. For you, it's been a second. I actually just got back and I saw Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers, whatever you want to call it. And let me just tell you, if you haven't gotten around to see this movie yet, go ahead and go see it. This movie has a lot of heart. This is probably the best MCU movie I have seen in quite some time. I'm happy I saw it, and it does set things up of what's to come in the MCU. So definitely go see Thunderbolts. It is worth the money here. All right, so going back to the independent comic books, we got Phantom Road. This is issue 12. This is a book that you're going to have to read and trade to get the full understanding of everything that's going on. However, Jeff Lemire writes a great story if you have been reading this book. And this one starts to close the gap, I would say, between the characters that discovered this artifact from the past and the characters that discovered the artifact in the present. The artwork is pretty solid in this book. It reminds you of, in a way, of Stranger Things, because there's two different worlds. There's almost like this upside down world and this regular world, and this artifact is caught in the middle. And when you touch this artifact, people, you see strange things, right? And these truck stops along the highway are like these gateways to this realm. It's just very interesting. And again, this is a book that you're probably going to need to read in trade, but this is a solid read. I'm giving this one an A-. I can't really give it the perfect grade because, again, if you're looking to jump on board of this, you're going to have to read a trade to get caught up. All right, the next one is going to be Fashion School Serial Killer. This is issue 2. This is another really great book done by Doug Wagner, and the artwork is really good. And I said this before, it's a very dark story, but the way the artwork is presented, it makes it feel much lighter than it actually is, right? So like I've said in the past, it's about a female who's got acceptance into this high-profile fashion institute, and she literally makes her clothing out of dead bodies, and she has this like fetish to where she has to kill people, and it comes on when, she gets stressed out or things don't go her way, or people that she doesn't get along with, right? Then she figures there's a reason why I need to kill them, and this kind of progresses that story. It also deals with a relationship with her and her best friend, and her best friend winds up getting hurt, and then you wind up seeing a little bit more of the darker side of our main character here and kind of the murdering that she's doing. Very good story. I highly recommend it. It may not be for all ages. It may not be all for everybody because it is a little bit of the drama side of things, but I do give it an A. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is Geiger. This is issue 14. Things are starting to heat up between Geiger and the Glowing Woman by Ashley Arden. We get the military that is making its way towards this hideout, and we find out in this book that the Glowing Woman, Ashley Arden, is using Geiger for her selfish reasons, okay? The artwork continues to be absolutely spectacular in here, and when you're reading this book, it's so intense. It feels like you're in this pressure cooker and there's this race against time because something very bad is going to happen in here, and I absolutely love it. This book delivers every month it comes out. The artwork here by Gary Frank is second to none. Geiger gets the top pick for me, and it's an A+. All right, the next one we're talking about here is Transformers. This is issue 20. Guys, we're coming down to the end of it. I think 24 is the last one that Daniel Warren Johnson is doing, or maybe 25, regardless. By the end of the year, this is going to be done, and I'm going to be sad, and whoever takes it over, we shall see. The artwork by Jorge Corona continues to impress, and if you like Megatron, you're going to really like this comic book because he hasn't made his presence felt throughout this entire run. But in this issue, he really does. And he makes his presence felt towards Astro Train, towards Starscream, and it's just intense. And you get to see the Autobots gearing up for the return of Megatron as well. Just a really good comic book in so many ways, and you do get the first appearance of the aerial bots in here, so I can predict a Devastator, and I forgot what the aerial bot combiner is called, but I can foresee a fight happening there. So once again, yes, Transformers also gets a top pick this week, A+, but it's not the final book that we're talking about. I would say this is bonus coverage because not everybody has gotten a chance to read this comic. I'm not going to give away spoilers here. I might give you an idea of what the plot's about, but some of us did get the advanced copy of Invincible Universe Battle Beast issue 2. I talked about issue 1 on Worthy Ones, but if you got that blind bag, right, issue 2 came in some of them. And I want to know if you guys got an issue 2. The artwork by Ryan Ottley is second to none. This is what made him so famous. This is what made him go to like Marvel and do Spider-Man and Hulk, and it's just so well done. And this continues off of the first issue where he battled that big creature, and he wound up taking this little alien dude with him, and he gives him a mission, and you just wind up seeing more battling from Battle Beast, and it's really good. I mean, it's so awesome. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of the issue, kind of shit hits the fan for Battle Beast here, but the lead up into that is great. Just seeing him in action is so great, and this book reminds me of how good Invincible really was because the fighting and the art by Ryan was spectacular. This book is amazing. So for whatever reason, if you didn't buy the first issue, regardless if it was a gimmick for you or not, pick up the book, man. It's just a good story, and there'll be second printings for this for the first issue, and then pick up the second issue. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Top pick, guys. A+ once again. And there you guys have it. There are all my thoughts on this week's comic books. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you read Invincible issue 2? And did you go ahead and see Thunderbolts? So leave me all those comments down below. Subscribe. Remember, there's more content right here for you guys to click on. And support those local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read those comics so we can have a great comic conversation. And guys, tomorrow I will see you on the top 10 most pulled comic books.